is engineer, whatever the title is yours. Okay, so we are gone to the first, the version controlling system, okay, which is typically a software configuration management tool, version controlling system topic. Okay, and under this we have gone to the couple of tools like SVN, Git, okay, and GitHub, blah blah blah. Okay, and after that we have gone through the build process automation. Okay, so as part of it, we have gone to the typical Java build tools like Maven. Okay, and once after that we have gone to the another important responsibility of a build engineer, which is a continuous integration. Okay, and how do you implement it in a typical project with the help of the previous tool. So whenever you are doing the continuous integration, you must and should know about these two topics. Okay, otherwise you're gonna be facing difficulty in understanding, right? Now as part of it, we have gone to the most popular tool called Jenkins. Okay, and if you know Jenkins, you can keep Hudson as well in your profile. Okay, and there are so many similar tools out there like a Bamboo, TeamCity, blah blah blah. You can, if you want, you can just do the explore of all these tools. Okay, now right after this topic, the another important topic is going to be the deployment automation. Okay, so the deployment automation is a huge topic. Okay, and this is a kind of a the last level of the continuous delivery pipeline. Okay, so after the continuous integration, most of the companies are looking ahead to implement the continuous delivery, and that continuous delivery can be implemented with the help of the deployment automation. Okay, I'll explain you what is continuous delivery later. Okay, at this moment, let's concentrate on what exactly a deployment automation. Okay, and what all the subcomponents are there, and what exactly we need to concentrate over there. Okay, and how do you implement this in the typical projects. Okay, so the same thing I'm going to put it in a diagrammatical way so that you can understand much better. Did I start a recording? Yeah. So this is what the pipeline of the continuous integration So you have to perform VCS checkout, which is code checkout. Typically in the continuous integration, this is what you're doing it. Okay, whenever a developer something commits, right, he's a developer. Just think he's a developer. Whenever it commits into the VCS is a version control. It can be SVN or Git or TFS, whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, and then after that, it should immediately trigger the build process. Okay, build process with the help of any of the tools. It can be Ant or Maven. Okay, right. Then once right away the build is done, so you need to execute the unit test. Okay, unit test execution. This can be done with Maven, guys. Okay, we can run the Maven unit test cases again, and once this is done, reporting. Okay, reporting through email of whether build is success or failure. Build success, build status, or it's success or failure. Okay, so this is how a typical continuous integration flow works, and this we have implemented with the tool called Jenkins, this entire flow. Okay, now right after this will just give you a flow of how the code has been built and how the unit tests are executed. Okay, and only the static integration which you can do it, code static integration. But in the reality, once a code is built, okay, so how do you think, like, whether it is really working at the customer end or the QA end? Okay, QA cannot test this process. Okay, this is only for the development process. So to test the application, okay, you need to be deployed into the environment first. Okay, so treat this is what your environment, nothing but a set of servers. Okay, so you can have one server or two servers, doesn't matter, n number of servers. It can be 1, 2, or n number of servers. Okay, and whatever the build application, you will be having a build application here, right? So let me do one thing, remove this reporting part. So you have the application, built application, which is a WAR file, okay, or a zip files or exes for .NET, whatever, okay, or when it comes to database side, SQL files, okay. So we do even the database builds as well, but the thing is, from our end, it's nothing that we have to run some command in the build process, okay. Instead of and maven, you choose the command prompt or shell prompt to run the SQL files, okay. So these are the outcomes actually. So these outcomes will be in the Jenkins system, okay. Now these can be in the Jenkins system, or you can maintain a third-party binary repository as well. So you can maintain some binary repository, and whenever you are done with the build, you can push it to this. This is alternative approach, okay, to maintain all the binaries, binary repo, okay. So now next thing is, once you have the binaries, okay, wars or exes or zip files, next you need to deploy them into the servers, okay. Then only you can get a running application, okay. If it is deployed, then only you can see a running application, okay, running application. So this running application can be verified, okay, by your QA team. Assume these people are the QA guys, okay. So these are the QA guys. He is a developer, okay, and these guys are the QA team members. Now the QA team members, they can verify only a running application. So treat this is what a running application, okay. So these guys will verify the running application, okay. These guys cannot verify the binaries, okay. Binaries, who can verify the binaries? Verification is not functionality verification, okay. They can verify a running application. So to verify a running application, or to test the, verify nothing but testing, okay, to test the running application, you should have the application should be deployed in the servers, okay. A collection of servers together we call as an environment, okay. So call this as a QA environment. An environment is nothing but a collection of servers deployed with an application, okay. So now what exactly these servers all about, okay, and what do you deploy them and how do you deploy them, okay. This entire process is there, right, okay. The entire process of this part, okay, and this part, the entire process of this we call it as a deployment process. Okay, and this deployment process is a manual. If you do it manually, manual, but the industry is expecting somebody should automate it, okay. So we need to perform the automation of this entire deployment process. So from by sitting from over here, you have to deploy your WAR files, your SQL files, okay, your whatever other files, right. So these servers can be an application server, okay. So this can be a app server, okay, and this can be a DB server, this can be a web server, okay. So there's so many different types of hosting software servers are there. You need to deploy them into these servers and start the services, then only the application will be properly up and running. And once it is up and running, then you can intimate the QA to make use of the environment or test the environment. And if they find some bugs, then again cycle will come to the developer. If they find some bugs, nothing but if they see any issues, they'll inform the developers, okay. And the developer job is to start working on fixing it. Again, it's a completely a pipeline. So this entire pipeline from here to the deployment, okay. So from here to here, okay, from here to, okay, from the code commit to, just giving a draft diagrams, okay. This entire step by step from till the end of the deployments, right. This we call it as a continuous delivery model or continuous delivery process, okay. So continuous integration is nothing but just generate the binaries, perform the unit test and compile it, just finish. You don't do any deployment, okay. And continuous delivery nothing but you even perform a deployment into any of the one environment and you give it for the QA verification, and this process we call as a continuous delivery, okay. Now the deployment automation process, if you add it to continuous integration, that will become the continuous delivery process. Guys, did you understand what I explained now? All of you, forget about like what is this server's environment. I'll talk about them. That's what in detail we need to go. Okay, but as a broad picture, did you understand it? Where we at the moment? Jagan, Sunil, there's no response. Say yes or no.
Yeah, it is pretty clear from my end.
Okay, fine. Yeah, thanks so much. So let's come back to the in detail part of the deployment automation. So we already gone through this part, VCS and build process, unit test, and this all the stuff. Now we need to work on the deployment. We are at this step at the moment, deployment automation. So let's work on this deployment automation part. Okay. So before working on deployment automation part, typically, okay, if you look at it in the market, most of the applications, if you see, they are the web applications or web services. Okay, most of them, I'm talking about most of them. Okay, and rest of other applications like uh, what do you call standalone applications. Okay, right, or they might be some embedded applications. Okay, like what do you call embedded softwares, guys, they installed in some devices. Okay, like chipsets and all. Or when it comes to the what do you call uh, the different types of applications are there. Okay, they will again comes under standalone, but these are all the rest of percentage, but most of them are the web app or web services. Okay, so I'm going to concentrate on the web app or web services applications, guys. Okay, if it is a typically web app or web services application, that will be definitely have, okay, a front end component, okay, as well as a back end component. Okay, now what do you mean by front end component is it's a typically like what do you call two-tier architecture of an application, which is defined by your architecture team of your application. Okay, and what do you mean by front end is whatever you see it, okay, or whatever you use it, make use of it, like it can be a web interface, okay, or it can be a web service, right? This is called a front end component, right? And what is a back end component is this is going to be a typically a database. Okay, most of the time it will be database. Apart from database, nowadays you can see some CRM components, Salesforce, CBIL, blah blah blah. Those are also considered like a database system. Okay, so for our training we'll consider the database as our backend. Okay, so now to understand the deployment process automation, right? Okay, I have to take an example of one of the web application, guys. Okay, one of the application. So I have an example web application. Okay, now I'll explain entire stuff with respect to that web application. So my web application name is lead app. Okay, this is what my web application name, and this web application is having two components. One is a application component, okay, and this is a typically purely Java application, guys. Okay, uh, this application will generate a binary called war file. Okay, and you know what is a war file? It's a web archival, which you already did it in the Ant and Maven. Okay, and he is also providing another thing is a SQL file. Okay, and this SQL file is a DB file, guys. Okay, DB script. Okay, now I need to prepare a DB server, I need to prepare an application server, then only I can deploy them into my environment. So to perform this thing, right, okay, I need to have at least two servers. Okay, I need to have at least two servers. One server is going to be the application server, okay, and one server is going to be the DB server. Right, now you might be asking a question, what is application server? Okay, so what exactly an application server is, guys? Just look at this. You're accessing this Jenkins, or you're accessing some website, okay, or Facebook or Gmail. What do you think how come they like showing the web page or they're in this website? Okay, see, you're seeing something in this web browser, right? Okay, you're accessing something in this web browser. So nothing, that is nothing but they built some application and they hosted on some application server. Okay, so you're seeing some this nice web page, nothing but this application is running on some application server or web server. Okay, so there will be some server for sure. Let me close this. I'll try to write one more diagram. Let's see. So this is one server. Sorry, this is another server. Okay, so server nothing but either it can be a Linux server or Windows server. You can choose any server, guys. Okay, either it can be Linux or Windows. It's up to you based on your environment. Okay, it can be Linux or Windows. Now to set up my lead app application, I would need at least 2 servers, and in my first server I'll install application server. Okay, so this application server, there are n number of application servers available in the market. Okay, so when it comes to application servers, we have a basic it's like the most used application server is Apache Tomcat. Okay, WebLogic, WebSphere, okay, JBoss, Jetty, for .NET was IIS. Okay, so there is one more, is the kind of a Glassfish. Okay, so there are n number of application servers are there. Okay, so all these application servers, what they will do it, they will serve your web service or web application. So your job is to, whatever the WAR file you have it, you need to deploy them into any one of the application servers. So which application server you need to use is defined by your architecture team. Okay, so typically in the development phase, QA phase and all, most of the guys, if you are a Java application, right, they go for the Tomcat one. Okay, now I'm going to give the introduction and setup of the Tomcat, guys. Okay, now Tomcat is from Apache again. Right, so now you should, whosoever the DevOps guy, or whosoever it is, the developer or a DevOps guy, build engineer, they must and should have some knowledge on the application server. Then only they can do the deployment. Otherwise, they cannot do the deployment. So what I'm trying to say is, treat, this is what your machine, your laptop. Okay, this is what your laptop. Right, so you have a WAR file here. Okay, which is what your web application binary, and you have a SQL file here. This is what your database binary. Okay, now your job is to deploy this WAR file into the application server. This is what your application server. Okay, and this application server can be anything. It can be Tomcat, WebLogic, whatever. Okay, and similarly, your job is to deploy the SQL file into the database server. So now this is what a DB server. Okay, now again, when it comes to the DB, right, we have a different DBs available in the market. Okay, don't ask me why we have these many DBs. I'll ask you a simple question: why we have these many programming language? Why we have these many, like, CA tools and build tools? It's all about, like, each and every tool has its own features, its own benefits. Okay, and among them we have open source, we have licensed. Okay, so all these are there. So based on the requirements we will be using, but you're not the guy to decide which DB, which app server need to be used. There will be architecture team who define what server need to be used. Okay, server nothing but what technology need to be used. Okay, you just have to get the instructions from them and set it up. Okay, so assume, like, for this lead app application which I'm talking about, an example application, these guys are using the MySQL database. Okay, but don't think like everywhere they use a MySQL. There can be a number of databases, like Oracle. It can be Oracle. It can be what do you call SQL Server for typically for .NET applications. Okay, or it can be what do you call DB2. Okay, many are there. Okay, and again, these are all relational databases. There is something called documented database as well, like Mongo and all. Let's not get into that area. So just treat like it's a simple database server. Okay, so to set up your application on an environment, okay, to set up an application to make it run on an environment, right? For this application, I would need at least 2 servers. Okay, and the first server should be installed with Tomcat. Okay, this should be installed with the Tomcat, and this should be installed with the MySQL server. Okay, so once this is ready, then only I can deploy it. Right, now if I start working on, like, deploying it, you don't understand how I'm doing the deployment. So that's the reason what I'm trying to do it. So I'll not directly get into the deployments part. First, what I will do it, I'll try to explain you the what exactly this application server, what is a DB server. We'll have some basic knowledge on these 2 things. Okay, then we'll proceed with, like, how we do the manual deployment. Okay, so first what I will do it, basics of, okay, app and DB server. Okay, this is what we'll discuss. And next thing is how we do the manual deployment, of web app as well as DB. Okay, and then after that, then how do we automate the deployment process. Okay, So this is what the agenda of, like, how we gonna learn the things. Okay, so now at the moment, what you mean by deployment. It is nothing but deploy the binaries into the servers. Okay, now before deploying the binaries into the servers, first of all we should understand what servers we are using and have some knowledge about them. Okay, now I'm going to discuss first the app server. Okay, so we'll see Apache Tomcat as our example. Okay, then later we'll see one database. Okay, and I'll make use of the MySQL to explain. Okay, so let's talk about Apache Tomcat server and MySQL server one by one. Okay, once we get to know about some knowledge on these two things, then we'll move on to the, like, okay, I know these two tools. Okay, now how do I deploy it manually? Nothing but how a typical developer will do it. Okay, so whoever is doing it manually, so that we'll see it. Then we'll move on to the automation later. Okay, so first and foremost, let's talk about Apache Tomcat server. Okay, any questions still here? Were you able to follow? Guys, Jagan, Sunil. Okay, so let me give you some overview of the Apache Tomcat, and as usual, this is from an Apache organization. Okay, and if any of the product from Apache are open source, because we have gone through Apache and Apache Maven, Apache SVN. Okay, open source, and it is a platform independent. It's a platform independent, so you can host it on any of the operating system. And that's what platform independent. Okay, now the next is this prerequisite to set up the Apache Tomcat server. You must and should have a JVM. JVM nothing but Java Virtual Machine. So that can be done with only with the either JDK or JRE. So you have to install either a JDK or JRE, Java Development Kit or Java Runtime Environment. So without that, you cannot run the Apache Tomcat. Remember, this is what the important one. So this is what the prerequisite to install JVM. Right now, once that is done, then next we'll see the installation. Okay, we'll see the basic operations of Tomcat. Right. So as part of the basic operations, okay, let's go do one by one. Let's try to, like, do the installation first. Okay, now I'm going to explain you the installation everything on Linux machine, guys. Okay, so before doing installation, let's go to the website and download it. Tomcat download. Just type it in the Google. It will take you to the website of the Apache Tomcat. This is what the website of it. Okay, and the most stable version is the Tomcat 7. Okay, if you want, you can take 8 and 9 as well. Okay, so this is what the versions history over here, and click on the Tomcat 7. Now come down a little bit. You can find the binary distributions. Can you see this? Okay, and among them, don't go for the Windows one, go for the typical tar.gz. Okay, this tar.gz is typically for the Linux machines. Okay, copy this link. Now get into your Linux machine, guys. Vagrant, I hope you guys already have the Linux machine with you. Okay, now I have some junk data here, forget about them. Now to download that one, use the wget command. As usual, we download many softwares with the help of the wget, and make sure your Linux machine have a internet connectivity. Okay, and try to copy that link and paste it with the wget command. That will download the Tomcat TZ. Can you see it is downloading from the internet now? So wait for a while, it's going to complete. It's not that big file, hardly of 8 MB or 9 MB file is. Right, it's downloaded. Look at this. Can you see the tar file here? And next step is, the first step is to download it. Okay, this command I'm just putting it over in the notes so that you can make use of it. Download, this is what the command. Okay, now once you download it, next thing is what you're supposed to do it, extract it. Okay, so how to extract it? So tar minus zxvf, this is what the command. Just do this command and keep it up here and run it. This will extract it. So once you extract it, please cross check whether it extracted. Yes, it is extracted. Okay, and just get into this extracted folder. Right, you can find this structure: bin, conf, lib, logs, temp, web apps, and work. Okay, this is a standard structure either in the Linux or in the Windows. Okay, now how to start your Tomcat server? Okay, so to start your Tomcat server, get into the bin folder. Okay, and inside the bin folder you can find the startup file called startup.sh. see, bat for the Windows, sh for the Linux. Okay, so sh startup.sh. just run this command. That's it, your Tomcat is started, guys. Okay, now let me do it. So start Tomcat. So for that, get into your bin folder. Okay, get into the bin, right? Then run the startup.sh. That's it. So that will start your Tomcat. Okay, and make sure before doing all of them, make sure you have Java installed in the Linux machine. Installed in given instance. Okay, how do you verify whether Java is there or not? Simple command, java-version. If you run this command, if it works, it's fine. So please, I didn't do that step, I'm doing it later, but because I know Java is already there. Yeah, it is there. Can you see 1.7.4? This was the Java installed already. So now the Tomcat started successfully. Okay, so how do you know whether your Tomcat started successfully or not? The first check is check the process. ps-af grep and try to search for the keyword called Tomcat. And guys, can you see this? This is what the process, and its process ID is 12188. Okay, it is successfully running. If you want, you can check the directory where it is pointing. Home Vagrant Tomcat. Can you see this? Right. So this is one check to check whether it is verified Tomcat status. Okay. So one command is ps-af grep Tomcat. Right. This is one thing, and you can check it with another way. The Tomcat will open a port number called 8080. So to cross check whether it is really opened the port number 8080 or not. So can you see, I'm just looking for the 8080 port. Can you see this? 8080 port is open. Okay, now this is another check. There is one more check is there. If you wanted to verify whether your Tomcat is running or not from your Windows machine, from wherever, if you are in a network with your Linux machine, what you can do it, you can access the Tomcat home page because it's a web server, right? It's application server. You can access from home page through the browser. Sorry. So take the IP address, go to the browser, okay, and enter the port number 8080 and enter. And see this, you can see the Tomcat home page, guys. This is the Tomcat home page. So once you start running it, if you could able to see this home page, then your application server, the Tomcat server, has been successfully installed. These are all the steps to set up a Tomcat on your Linux machine. Okay, so open this link in a browser. Okay, so what is the link? This link. Okay, so right now you're successfully set up. Now when it comes to the basic operation, once you set up it, let's perform the basic operation. So the basic operations will be, typically people will ask you, can you stop the Tomcat? Okay, can you start the Tomcat? So how do you do the stop start of your Tomcat? It's a simple thing. You already did that. So be there in the bin folder. Okay, in the bin folder, parallel to startup.sh, you can find one more file called shutdown.sh. So just run shutdown.sh. That's it. Now you successfully shut down. Shut down nothing but your Tomcat server is not running at the moment. Okay. Okay, so how do you verify whether it's really not running or not? Simple thing. What are the checks you need to cross check whether it is running or not? Same checks you can do it. ps-af, right? Is it running? Not running. Next. Let's start. Is the port open? No. Next. Try to refresh. You cannot access the page now because your Tomcat is down. Okay, 404. You don't access the page. So this is how you can stop your Tomcat. And if you want to start, the same command again, startup.sh. Right. This is how you verify the start of a typical Tomcat server. Next. Next thing is, how do you do the deployment of a WAR file? Okay, so how do you do a typical deployment of a WAR file on Tomcat server? So to do this deployment, these deployments are two types. One is the soft deployment, or you can also call it as a console deployment. Okay, and another is the direct deployment. Okay, this is also called a hard deployment, right? So let's see first what is soft deployment. To perform the soft deployment, okay, you need to enable Tomcat manager. Okay, so the Tomcat manager will be there here. Can you see this guys manager app here? Click on the manager app. Okay, it will ask you for some username password. Okay, but at the moment we don't know what is the username password for this Tomcat manager. So if you don't know it, cancel. Now you need to set up this username password. Just copy paste these two lines, whatever you see it here. Okay, in a file called, see it's already mentioned inside the conf you have a tomcat users.xml. Okay, so just come out from this. In a parent location you can find a folder called conf, get into the conf, and here you can find a file called tomcat users.xml. Okay, open that in a VA editor. Okay, and just inside the Tomcat users paste these two lines. Okay, and now you know what is username password. Username is Tomcat, password is a secret. Okay, I'll make it as a simple password here. So username, password are both the same, Tomcat. Now save it. Okay, now once you save it, please make sure you restart your server. Okay, what do you mean by restarting is shut down, okay, and start up. Restart nothing but shut down and start up. There is no script called restart is there. Okay, that's it. Now I started. So once you are done with that, now access the home page again. Now home page is it not accessible? Tomcat is running. Did you add anything wrong? Yeah, it's fine. So now my Tomcat is up and running. So now you click on the manager app. Now you define a username password, right? What is your username password? Tomcat. What are you given in that XML file? And login. This is what your console or Tomcat web application manager. What do you mean by this is? This application will help you to deploy the your WAR file on the Tomcat software application server. Okay, so how to do that? So before doing it, you look at this application, this web page. There are already default some applications are already deployed. See, this table will talk about what are all the applications deployed in the Tomcat. Okay, your Tomcat default will come with a root, a docs, examples, host manager. You know what? You are accessing this manager application, right? This manager application also another web application. So this is what this manager. If you click on manager, it will take you to the same page. I mean, wherever you are there. Okay, and if you click on the docs, okay, it's a documentation of your Tomcat. It will take you to the documentation. You can see entire documentation. And if you click on the examples, some example web applications here. Okay, and if you click on host manager, another service. There are, like, you know, many are there. I mean, these are all the things available. Admin, sorry, come back. Okay, so these are all the default deployed applications. Now I don't want you to do anything with these applications. Okay, just leave it as it is, and I wanted to deploy my own WAR file. If you wanted to deploy your own WAR file, you come down. Can you see WAR file to deploy? Okay, now there is a choose button. Choose the file. Now you try to deploy your WAR file. Guys, you might be having some WAR file in your ant practice, right? Somewhere you prepared some WAR file. Did you remember anyone? Web app. Can you see web app.war file? Some example one. Try to deploy this web app.war file. Deploy it. Now it is trying to deploy. That's it. It's successfully deployed. When you say a message called OK nothing but, it is deployed. Once it is deployed, in this table you can find your application as well. Can you find your web app application anywhere? Yes, here. Can you see web app? Okay, it is successfully deployed, and the name display name is ant example. Okay, this is what the name it is there in the web app actually. So it can be it is default started. Whenever you deploy it, the application is default started. So to access the application, you just have to click on this path, I mean context path. Just click on it. If you click on it, it will redirect to this is what your web application. Simple thing. Okay, it's a dummy application actually, just for a verification of whether we could able to do the deployment or not. Okay, so instead of this dummy application in the real world, you deploy the actual applications. Okay, so we'll see the lead app as well later when we are performing the deployment automation. Okay, so now this URL, what you do, you give it for the QA team, the testers to, like, guys, verify the application. Now I'm done with the deployment. Now it is your job to test this application. So the QA people will take this URL. Okay, now if you look at this diagram, right, now we are done with this application deployment, and we'll give a URL to the we'll give a app URL to the QA team, and these guys will test the application. Okay, and from here your job ends. The build engineer or DevOps engineer, whoever it is, your job ends here. Okay, now the QA team job will start to test this application. Okay, so this is what a console deployment or a soft deployment, guys. Okay, the first type of deployment. Now you might be thinking, okay, I deployed from here, but where exactly to store in the server? Okay, now I'm going to show you where exactly to store in the server. Now go back to your application server. So this is what your Tomcat directory, right? Okay, and these are all the folders and files are there. So can you see web apps here? Okay, get into the web apps, and this is the folder where you have all the applications which are deployed, and you can see your application as well. Can you see web app.war file you deployed, and this is deployed, it is extracted. So every war file, if you deploy it, right, it will automatically extract, and it will show you that app from the Tomcat manager app here. Okay, so, and you can see root manager, these are all these apps only actually. Okay, so these are the default ones which comes with your installation of your Tomcat, and web app is the new one which you deployed. Okay, so if you wanted to stop this application, oh no, I don't want it to, like, start it, you can stop it from here. Now you, once you stopped it, right, now if you try to access this link, I'm opening in a new page, it's not available. Web app, it is not running at the moment. Only this application is not running, remaining all running. Okay, and if you want to start, you can start again. Right, now it is started fine. So once it is started fine, you just click it and you can find this thing. Okay, now I want to reload it. Reload nothing but redeploying, guys. Okay, it just reloads, but it redeploys one more time. So the war file, like, it deploys, like, you are deploying a new war file, something like that. Okay, the same war file, it will redeploys internally inside the Tomcat container. Now I don't want to have this application here. I want to undeploy it or remove it. I want to remove from here. So you use the undeploy. Right, now when you do the undeploy, it's deleted from here, and come back to the same folder, physical location, and see this, the web app has been deleted. Can you see the war file and the extracted folder? Both are not there here. Okay, so whatever you do from the console, it will reflect in the server side as well, in the server file system as well. Okay, and these are all the operations we can do from the Tomcat manager, and this is called the console deployment or soft deployment. Right, now let's move on to the other way, other deployment, which is a direct deployment or hard deployment. Direct deployment is nothing but whatever your Tomcat manager is doing, okay, that you need to do it with the help of the scripts or with the manually. Okay, so what I will do it, I have a war file here, right, and September web app. Okay, now this war file I'll copy to the web apps location. Okay, and I'll try to restart it. That's what the hard deployment or direct deployment. So let's try to copy that. So you might be having some git bash, right? You can make use of the scp command. So go to any of the git bash from Windows. Okay, now try to provide your remote machine username vagrant at 192.168. 16.10, and what is the path? I wanted to copy to the web app. So if you directly copy to this location, which is equivalent to deployment, only thing is you are doing it manually. Enter the password, migrant. That's it. It is copied to here now. Once it is copied, right now, can you see web app.war? The Tomcat server, you need to restart it. Okay, go to the bin and shutdown.sh and startup.sh. Okay, so once these are all done, now come back to your manager app and try to refresh this. There is no web app here, right? Now after this direct deployment, it will appear in this table. So you are doing the back, doing the kind of a backdoor stuff. So you are doing from the back end, the deployment now, okay? Not from the front end. So, but even you do from the back end also, the manager app will show that in the table. So now come back and can you see this web app here? You did the deployment from the back end by directly copying the web apps location. Now your manager app successfully showing over here, and you can access the application. That's it. It's very simple. So only thing is, whatever the console is doing it, you are doing it manually. Okay, the console will take from your user the UI and uploads there, right? So instead of that, you are directly putting that var into the web apps, and it is taking care of the deployment. And if you want, you can go to the web apps location and see. Can you see this? The web app.var, and it is automatically extracted. When you restart it, it will automatically extract it, and this from here it will serve the pages to this URL. Okay, so this is all about the deployment part and how many ways you can do the deployment in the typical Tomcat server. Okay, soft and the direct deployment. So the direct deployment, you don't require any manager credentials. You don't need to set up any manager username password. Okay, you can directly deploy it. Next, once the deployment is done, so typically people will ask you, if something goes wrong, okay, how do you know what happened in my Tomcat server? Okay, so the most important is the logs view. So where do you see the log files in the Tomcat server? Okay, so come back to the parent folder. Now can you see logs folder here? That's what the logs folder. Okay, just go there and you can find it one important log file which is called catalina.out. Okay, so the log file name is catalina.out. So you can find that catalina.out. Okay, and you try to open this catalina.out, and this will show you the entire Tomcat process, what it is doing with your deployment actually. Okay, so you do the shift G to go to the end. Right, now you can see what all the applications it is deploying. Can you see this, guys? It is deploying web apps. Okay, under the web apps, examples, manager, root. Okay, and you can find your web app as well somewhere. Yeah, can you see this? Web app.war has finished. So nothing but every application it will tries to deploy when you restart it, and the entire log has been written here. Okay, now I want to show you one scenario. Okay, where uh, something went wrong. I'm unable to access the Tomcat server. Okay, so how do you find the issue? Okay, so look at this. You go to the bin and startup.sh. The Tomcat is already running. I'm trying to start one more time. Okay, now you look at this. There are two Tomcats running here. Can you see this? This is one Tomcat and this is one Tomcat. Okay, and just run the same command again. Two Tomcats are there. Run the same command again. Two Tomcats are there. Run it again. Two are there. Run it again. Two are there. Run it again. Two are there. Two are there. Actually, you know what will happen? The one more Tomcat, the extra one will dead automatically. Okay, maybe it is taking some time, but it will go down. Okay, now suppose you wanted to know what happened exactly. You go to the logs folder, and now you try to open the catalina.out and go to the end. You can see the exceptions. Can you see the exception? Severe exception. The exception is already in use. What do you mean by this is the Tomcat typically opens a 8005 8080 ports. Okay, so whenever you run the second time the same startup script, right, it tries to open the same port again. But in a server, you cannot open same port second time. You can open only once. Okay, you cannot open the same port two times, right? So that's the reason it is throwing an exception called unable to bind the port number. Okay, already in use, right? Now let me see whether it is finished. See, the other Tomcat is killed automatically. Okay, the reason, it cannot open the ports. If it cannot open the ports, nothing but it cannot run the Tomcat at all. Okay, so this is how you can debug if something goes. See, I just gave an example of running the Tomcat two times, but in the real time, not this kind of issues you will face. You'll see something else, like the application you deployed, but it won't show anything. It will show some errors. Okay, now the developer will ask you a question: could you please get me the log file, and could you please look into the errors or exceptions which you see it in the catalina.out. Okay, they'll request you to get those log files. So your job is to get these log files, okay, and copy the exception. Okay, what are the exception? You see it. So now you see some exception, right? Okay, and this exception nothing but error. Okay, copy this, send it to the developer, so the developer can look at the error and he will understand what went wrong, and then he will fix in the code and he will redeploy it. He will redeploy nothing but he will commit it to the code again. The pipeline, the engine will start, CI engine. So it's a never ending, I mean it's not never ending. Until it fixes, it needs to go through the loop, entire loop. Okay, so this is how you look at the logs. Okay, the catalina.out is the most important file among all the logs. Apart from that, there is one more file called uh, localhost access. What is this is? This will tell you something like, who is accessing the websites or web services. Okay, see, can you see the IP address of the guy? 192.168.16.1 is my Windows machine IP, guys. If you want, you can cross check it. IP config. I'm the only person accessing the can you see this? This is what my IP address, 16.1, sorry. Okay, and you can see who's already accessing the website. Okay, and you can find their IP address tracked on your log file. Okay, so this is really useful. Sometimes, like, a developer say I'm not able to access, you ask him, like, his IP address. Okay, and you will be knowing whether he got a 404 or he got, like, something called 200 or 202. You can see different messages. Okay, so 404, 404, you can see some different responses as well, guys. Not only this. Yeah, 200. 200 nothing but success, guys. Okay. 404 nothing but failure. Okay. So mostly if you 200 nothing but, it is good. So you can verify from which IP, what is the error status he is getting it. Okay. So this is all about the logs. Right. Next, other important thing is the configuration. Now configuration, what do you mean by configuration is, see, with the help of the Tomcat, you can do some configuration tweakings. Example, I would say, see, now at this moment, which port is the Tomcat is opening? 8080 port. Think about, in the same server, you install some other service and which is using the 8080 port. Okay, and you don't have any other server to move your Tomcat server, and your management says, like, run Tomcat also in the same server. Okay, but you cannot run it because the other service is making use of the 8080 port. So in those scenarios, you can change your Tomcat port if you want easily with the help of a configuration file. Now get into the conf folder. There is a file called server.xml. Okay, try to open the server.xml and search for 8080 port, and you can find that 8080 port over here. Can you see it here? 8080 port. Don't look at this thing, guys. This is the commented one. Okay, and this is the uncommented one in XML. So I wanted to change the port to 8080 to 8081. Okay, now say this. Now once you set any changes, if you make it into the configuration folder, okay, you have to get back into the bin folder and restart your server. Without restarting, your changes will not reflect. Okay, now I have restarted. So once you restarted, please cross check whether it is really opened the port 8081 or not. See, I'm checking 8080. Now it will not open 8080. It will open the 8081. Can you see 8081 port is open? And if you want to verify from browser, you can verify that. 8081. It takes some time from the browser because it needs to load from the server, right? So anyway, it will work. Okay, see, it is working 8080. But Is it working with the 8080? 8081 it is working. Okay, 8080 gone. So because you started Tomcat on an 8081 port number. So this is one simple configuration. So similarly, you can perform one more configuration like what do you call server.xml. See, the currently the app base, okay, is a web apps. Another configuration. Web apps nothing but your Tomcat container will read all the WAR files which are deployed under the web apps folder. Okay, that folder I already showed you here. If you come to the parent location, can you see web apps folder? Okay, so it is trying to deploy all the applications which are there in the web apps. Now, in case if you wanted to change the web apps folder to something else, like I want to create something deploy folder. Okay, so this is what my folder. So I want to keep my WAR files into the deploy folder. So if you want to change the location of your web apps folder, right? So what you can do is try to open the server.xml and look for the app base. Okay, and try to provide the new path. Shift insert. Okay, now you restart. See, any changes in server.xml, as usual you have to restart it. Okay, shutdown.sh, startup.sh. Okay, now you try to access it through 8081. You can't, I mean, it is really accessing, but the thing is you don't have anything on the deploy, not even like Tomcat hosted installed file. See, you if you wanted to access Tomcat manager or homepage, you should have something in the web apps, right? So instead of web apps, you pointed to the deploy. So here nothing is there. Okay, now what I will do it, I'll try to copy that webapp.war file here into this location. Okay, now look at this. War file is copied, right? If your Tomcat is running, okay, and if it's really pointed to the new deploy location, it will automatically extract it while the server is running. If you want, if you look at it one more time, can you see the web app folder now? Earlier it was not there. It is automatically extracted. Okay, now you try to access web app. That's it. Now you could able to access your application. Anything wrong, guys? Web app. Yes. Okay, this is up and running. So this is how you can change your deployment location as well. Okay, with the help of the configurations, right? So port number, uh, uh, deployment location, which is app based location. Okay, so blah blah blah, you can change it. If you want it in detail of like what else you can do it, you can look at the Tomcat documentation, guys. Okay, if you go to the official Apache website, you can get the documentation and you can just look into the things over there. Okay, so I'm just showing you each and every directory and what things you can do with the Tomcat server. Right now, so with a typical application server, it can be Tomcat, it can be WebLogic, it can be web server. Okay, so you should know all these steps how to do it. Okay, not only you, even the developer. Okay, and if possible QLs, everybody should know all these steps. Okay, so this is all about some introduction, okay, of your Tomcat server. Okay, guys, any questions till here? Any questions till here? All of you. Praveen, Sunil, Hari, Jagan. Were you able to follow? Is it easy to understand? Praveen says fine. Okay. How about others? Hari, I mean, I know it's the first
Yeah,
session for you, but still, I mean, does it make sense? Anything?
yeah, it is okay, but it is a little difficult for me to catch up, Linux commands.
Yeah, I understand. So
Because
I mean, the thing
yeah,
is, before I start a batch, I typically train the Linux. Okay, you miss the Linux session as well, so don't worry about it.
yeah,
All my recordings
yeah,
are available. You can just go through it. Okay. So okay,
yeah.
fine guys. So that's it for today. Now tomorrow I'll walk you through with the DB server. Okay. So tomorrow we'll see the MySQL DB server. Okay. So I'll stop it for now. Tomorrow same time we'll catch up and we'll see some DB basics. Okay. And once that is done, we'll proceed like as we planned in the beginning. Okay. So thank you so much guys. We'll catch up tomorrow then. See you all.
See.
Yeah.